AQ Lighting and Brian. Today we're going to do something different. We are going to discuss materials for landscape lighting. Like, how do you decide? Why does it matter? What happens to it once you install it? And those are all very serious questions. Like, you know, from what they look the same. They look the same, but there's a big price difference, and there is a big element difference once it starts hitting beach weather, Houston weather, I mean, cold, snow, all of that does impact the life of your fixture. So, we'll start with this guy. Tell me what happened here.
So, basically, actually I'm impressed a little bit because this is an aluminum fixture with a very, very thin layer of copper, like copper foil. And
Okay.
that copper foil actually prevented this thing from disintegrating completely. So this is aluminum. It's been on the yard for a year or two and in the desert, but with a sprinkler system that's been hitting it almost daily.
So not extreme weather. When he's saying desert, he's saying like high desert, so the most it would get would be 100, 102 degrees, but he's right, that did have sprinklers.
No snow. This wasn't next to a sidewalk, and you weren't throwing salt on your sidewalk to melt the ice.
Yeah.
So this is just a sprinkler hitting it. That's it.
So this is a very, very inexpensive fixture. So you would know going into it, this is what's going to happen to the material over time. And this one actually lasted better than a lot of the aluminums will just completely disintegrate.
Quite often you'll see aluminum spotlights. This is composite, but you'll see aluminum spotlights, and what happens is eventually the swivel corrodes out, or the nut or the screw, and eventually they just lay down flat.
Okay.
And you can't keep them aimed anymore, and that's the corrosion from the aluminum. And that's what happens with aluminum spotlights.
Gotcha. So this is composite, which is basically plastic. So this will last, although it's not super attractive, but it'll last as long as these screws are brass or stainless steel, right?
Yes, as long as they're made of stainless or brass, then the screws will last. This will last a long time unless you have anybody walking over them, stepping on them, kids, dogs, landscapers, gardeners. If I'm mowing the lawn and I hit this, this is a lot more susceptible to breaking.
Okay. So the grand finale, if you want it to last, if you have ocean front or ocean air, if you have Texas weather, if you have East Coast weather where you're going to be hit with snow and the salt from the snow, if you want it to last a long time, rather than, this is more replacement cost. If you pay for it once, you're going to pay for it again, because you're going to need to replace it because it's going to erode away. Where here, one and done. Right?
Yep, I agree. This is, like we were talking about, even though they're both look very similar, this, if I step on, I'm breaking it for sure. This, I think I could step on it many times before anything here would ever break.
And you did have an amusement park call you. This is a pretty good story. Just to wrap up with this.
So they had many fixtures, and they had quite a few that were breaking, but they were composite. And once I realized where they were and what they were doing with them, it was like, well, you're completely the wrong fixture. So even though it's a decent fixture, it's never going to rust or corrode on you. You need something heavy duty, so if the kids are running around, stepping on them, these will not break.
Yeah, and that's the difference. So select what's best for your application. Understand when you select aluminum that this is the result, and if you select brass, it'll look like this 10 years later, and it will stand it. So we hope that was helpful to you. All right, I think that's it. Thanks for joining.